Welcome to Shamu and You, exploring the world of fish. Let's start off with Shamu asking you, what would your world be like if you were a fish?
I wish I were a bird. I'd be a fish.
I'd like to be a reptile.
I'd like to be a mammal. What do you want to be?
If you were young but not a child. If you were at home living in the wild. If you were something other than you are. Just imagine, just pretend, just what your world would be. If you were over 10 feet tall. If you would stop traffic at the mall. If you were something other than you are. Just imagine, just pretend, just what your world would be. If you, me, yeah, that too. Just imagine, just pretend. Just imagine, just pretend, if you were a fish.
Imagine if you were a fish, what would you be? You could be funny looking or scary. There are thousands of different fish. They live in the ocean and in rivers and lakes. And in their own way, each fish is strange and beautiful.
If I was a goldfish, I get to live in a bowl with people, and they probably would be friendly to me. If I was a pufferfish, I would be different colors. I would like to be a seahorse because I could swim through the waters and I could see all the beautiful scenery. I won't be scary looking, but I'll be me.
Now presenting the fish.
Kangaroos aren't fish. They're mammals.
Here he is, the fish.
Oh, that's a bird, not a fish.
You gotta love him, the fish.
Lizards aren't fish either. They're reptiles.
Is there a fish in the house?
Yes, there is. Now that's a fish. If you were a fish, you'd spend most of your time in the water. A whale lives in the ocean, so it must be a fish, right? No, whales have lungs and breathe air. They're mammals. If you were a fish, you'd breathe through gills, so you couldn't be a whale. But there's plenty of other things you could be if you were a fish.
Fish champions.
This little fish may not look like a champion, but it's the champion shot of the entire fish world. It's the archer fish. Archer fish don't wait for a meal to come to them. They just shoot down their suppers. The archer fish is a true marksman. Water can distort light rays, which means when you're looking into or out of water, things aren't always where they appear to be. That can be a problem when you need perfect aim to knock down your supper. But it's no problem at all for the archer fish. He just adjusts his aim and... Archer fish squirt drops of water out of their mouths to bring down an insect. And their aim is so on target, they would make Robin Hood himself proud. The archer fish is a true fish champion.
An eel is a fish because it's strange because when it can disappear fast and it can peek its head out.
Well, that's right. Eels are fish too. And eels certainly are strange. You wouldn't normally see eels swimming out in the open like most fish. Eels usually prefer to hide in rocks and crevices and pop their heads out to grab a meal. And an eel looks like one of the last creatures you'd want to come face to face with underwater. If you were an eel, what do you think it would be like?
If I was an eel and something came to attack me, I'd sting it with my electrical stinger.
You could if you were an electric eel. If anyone bothered you, they'd really be in for a shock. Electric eels can give out enough electric voltage to power 2 television sets. A moray eel can't shock you, but if you get too close, it'll lunge with its razor-sharp teeth. Just hang on. There's something mysterious and secretive about eels. Could the tales of the legendary sea serpent actually be a giant eel? Stories have been told of baby eels being caught at sea that measure over 6 feet long. If the baby is that big, then, say the stories, somewhere deep in the ocean there could be undiscovered parent eels that are over 140 feet long. Maybe there are sea serpents after all. One of the most fascinating eels of all is the wolf eel. Wolf eels may have gotten their names because they look like eels and they have canine teeth like a wolf. But unlike their canine namesakes, wolf eels can also go months without eating. Now that's a fascinating fact.
Strangest fish.
A catfish is strange because it has whiskers and it has a tail.
Well, a tail isn't too unusual for a fish, but whiskers? No wonder they're called catfish. There are lots of strange fish in the water and out of the water. This is one of the most peculiar. It's called a mudskipper. Mudskippers carry their own supply of water with them, so they can spend their time exploring on land. They're sort of like fish scuba divers. But mudskippers aren't the only strange fish. Sometimes a batfish will stop swimming and take a walk on its fins. The sargassum fish looks like a piece of seaweed until a meal is gulped down faster than we can even see. Let's slow that picture down. But some fish are too strange to be believed.
A mermaid has a tail that things that goes like this.
They have long hair, and when they're swimming in the water, it looks like their hair shines.
Sailors once believed they saw a really strange fish, the beautiful mermaid.
Mermaids go underwater and they have a fin, and they're almost like us, except the fin. She's part fish and part human.
Now that's a pretty strange combination. A little too strange. What the sailors thought was a mermaid may actually have been this, the plant-eating gentle manatee. Talk about a fish out of water. The lungfish not only crawls out onto land, it even takes walks. While some fish can spend short periods of time on land, the lungfish can actually slither across the ground and move from pond to pond because the lungfish has gills and lungs. And even if its home pond goes dry, that's no problem for the lungfish. It'll wrap itself in a sort of cocoon of mud and can live that way for up to 4 years. currents until the pond fills back up. Then the lungfish swims on its way. Fish have some of the funniest names. Can you guess the name of this fish? It's the butterfly fish. See if you can guess this one. It's called a sawfish. Here's another. You got it. It's the wolf eel. Here are some more fish with funny names. There are all kinds of funny names for just about every fish under the sun.